And speaking of delightful, delectable albums, let's talk about your new latest EP, sir. iMotions?
Yes.
iMotions. And you have 3 different releases for it, you busy bee.
Yeah, so there's actually 4.
Oh my gosh.
I'll give you a little bit of exclusive. But here in the next few months, there is an expanded version that is coming with, and it has 3 new songs, all of them features. So that's 3 friends of mine that y'all will be able to hear that we've been working on these things for years. I'll if you don't mind, I'll kind of explain that a little bit. But basically, yeah, 3 new songs with features on them. There's like 3 acoustic versions, 2 live versions, a remix. It's an expanded version of the record. And we've got some visuals planned and some things. So I like to go in hiding and then collect my things, and then pop out like, hey guys, that's for you, this for you, that's for you. So the 3 that I have out are just the regular version, the clean version, I guess, and then the acapella and instrumentals. Those actually weren't my idea. My friend Know-How, he helped me produce a lot of the record. He, I don't know he used to send me like chopped and screwed versions of the mixes that we would do of the songs. And so I used to love that so much. And so I was telling him, I was like, I want a chopped and screwed version. I want every version we could think of. Except for a sped up version, but apparently now that's popular. So I might have to reconsider that. But I was like, I want a chopped and screwed version done. I wanted it done by DJ Red. I was like, I want the instrumentals. He had the idea of the acapellas, since the instrumental, he was like, well, if we're already going to do that, and I was like, that would be smart. And then also, if I'm being honest, this is the first record I feel like I've heard my voice. Prior to this, I didn't engineer correctly. You know what I mean? It wasn't the quality that it is now. Mm-hmm. So when I hear iMotions, I'm more so, I don't care. I don't care about any of the extra stuff or like the sonics or anything like that. I'm proud of it because I think it sounds good and I made what was true to me at that time, like I said. But what I'm proud of now after it being made and it being out is literally like the work that we put into it. I went back and did vocals again like 3 days in a row. Sometimes I would sit there for months on end working on the same kick because it didn't sound right. Like, stuff like that. Things that I don't have to do now, thank God, because I'm not that manic and I have a system so I don't get caught into that loop. But yeah, iMotions marks the beginning of a lot of stuff for me. And it's not even the best thing we have out. So, or it's not even the best thing to come. There we go. The best stuff is not out yet. But yeah, I can't wait to drop that for sure. That was definitely a journey. One of my favorite things I've done thus far, literally.
I envy you and I don't envy you because like one release in a year is already like a lot of work, but you breaking down and breaking into 3 different versions, 4 different versions to come, what made you decide to release it in all those different kind of versions? And what was the process like for producing each one individually?
You know what? To answer that, I will say, first of all, if there are any musician friends here, business-oriented friends, stay tuned. I think I want to get into this. I don't really ever get to talk about this. But iMotions, I specifically set out for that to be a mainstream pop, not a mainstream pop record, but I wanted it to be marketed like that. I wanted to try my hand at putting out the first single with the music video, and then the next single with the music video, the promotional single with the music video, then drop the album when the promotional single drops. And then we've got live versions and acoustic versions and this version here. And then we're also performing there. I wanted to do, or see if I could do what everybody else, the mainstream artists were doing. And, I will say that it's definitely way more work than I thought. I learned so much about myself. Not a dancer. Well, we're getting there. We're definitely getting there. I envy so many artists that do this. But yeah, that was the goal for iMotion. So when it came down to making it, I only had, if you want to be honest, I had a 14-track album that is going to come out, but I just wasn't ready. It wasn't sonically the same or the way that I wanted it to be. I don't know if you heard the song Feel a Wave. That was a single. But that was a single from that album. So I had dropped that song in that music video and I was ready to drop the album. I was like, I got 14 songs and this is my sophomore album and it's going to be this and this and this. But if I'm being honest, I was so depressed and so in such a very weird time that I didn't know how to even begin to explain what the album was or market it. I don't think I'll get into it right now because it's a lot, but very much so I needed something. I wanted a refresher. So I wrote Antisocial, the first song on the record, and I showed it to Know How, and he was like, okay, I see, like, say no more. I know what you're trying to do. I got it. And I was like, bet. Here are 4 more. And I played them for him, and some of them I liked, some of them I didn't, but I just knew I needed something out. So I stuck to a 5-track EP, keep it small and simple. And then I think we had like 2 weeks left to mix it. And I was like, well, before we send it off to get mastered, what do I do now? Like, I knew I wanted music videos. I knew I wanted people to hear it, but I was like, what do I do? And so, I took a look at what everybody else was doing, and kind of, I got in touch with Apple Music correspondents, and I downloaded Spotify and Apple Music's like promotional package, and they lay out all of their guidelines and either the contacts and stuff for who you send your things to whenever you want to get approval for marketing and all that stuff. And I was like, we're gonna do that. The budget it didn't match. So I was like, okay, how do we do this on a budget? And I just figured the best way to do it, to get people to hear it on a budget, is to have as much, and I don't know if this is even right, but to have as much content to interact with as possible. And I knew the instrumentals that would lead people to be like, oh, even if I don't like the song and I like the beat, write your own verse. I don't give a fuck. Do what you like. And for the acapellas, I wanted DJs to feel like I can take that and do this and that. I've seen a lot of my favorite artists do that, but I don't know. I don't know. I feel like that was a big thing that happened a lot in 2016, 2017, whenever the EDM boom kind of happened, 2015, I guess even. But I don't see a lot of people doing that, where they're releasing the acapellas and the instrumentals, at least not the underground artists in my realm. And I want to see more of that. I love to hear what went on and what went into a track. And if I can't get to the stems, because those are large files, the least I could do is listen to or stream the acapella. So that's how I got that. And then the expanded edition, I want to shout out to, I don't know if you are familiar with Alexander, Ian, the lead singer from Hold on Hollywood. Love him. And I also have another artist friend, Lizzie XMO. She's also featured. Love her. Jimmy of the Saints, he's on it as well. Love him. Queen Cazaray, love her. She is so talented. A lot of them, I want to shout out all of them for being so patient with me and for working with me doing this, because specifically with Ian and my friend Lizzie, we recorded those songs 2.5 years ago. And when I was going through the whole thing where I was like, I want to release the 14-track album, but I also want to put the EP out first because that's easier and it's shorter of a project. It sounds a lot better. What am I going to do? They were patient and kind, and they let me take their vocals and just mess them up until I got them right, and do all these different things. And we will now finally be able to hear that. So, that's pretty much how that happened. It was just me wanting to get as much content out there as possible, and me having the space to do that, if I'm being honest. If I would have been on a time limit, or if I would have put myself on a time limit, oh my gosh, none of this stuff would have ever came out. I've done that before. I've tried to be like, okay, by the middle of this year, or by the winter, or by the summer, I'm going to do this. And every time I do that, I end up not doing it and just keeping it for myself. And I'm so tired of having things in the vault. I want a very much clean palette as far as like my music goes, because I feel like it's the same thing as my emotions. I'm just holding in emotions. We don't want to do that. Hence the name of the EP, iMotions. So yeah. Oh, and to explain that, iMotions instead of emotions is because I forget who else asked, but it's like I feel like everything is dictated off of electronic devices and stuff now. You got your iPhone, we've got the MacBooks and the tablets and all these different things. Even other brand Android, that is a robot. Like that's literally the Android, all that good stuff. So since a lot of our mood gets dictated through social media and the metaverse, essentially, I was like, these are iMotions. A lot of these don't even feel like me, a lot of the time. Antisocial, I am so sweet. I love talking to people. But I was so in that mode when I wrote that song, and I could not tell you why. I have no idea. And I can only chalk it up to how often I was scrolling and consuming things that were not for me. It's so easy to get stuck doom scrolling. It's crazy.
Oh, yeah. Oh yeah, which is why I make it a point, when it comes to social medias, it's like if I'm gonna follow someone or something, it has to be something that I would back up, another artist, traveling, food, things like that. I'm not gonna hang out with the Kardashians. We're never gonna drink tea. We're never gonna go party with Paris. So there's no sense in me having, any kind of whatever.
That's kind of funny. I didn't really have that. Up until recently. I used to follow any and every celebrity that I could find because I wanted so badly to be in that space. I thought that was the way. I don't know. I was young, so I can't tell you exactly what I was thinking. But if I had to guess, I think that I thought that was a way to manifest that kind of lifestyle until I understood what went into it. So I was like, let me follow, the Kim Kardashians and the Chloe Baileys and the this and the that. And I still do support a lot of those artists for sure. But now I follow more underground artists. I consume more underground content, more lesser known content, just because I find that is, and I hope I don't offend anybody when I say this, that is the least contaminated content. Like there's an underground artist I listen to called Tomston, and I've been listening to him for years. I think since 2016 specifically. And every time I hear his music, it gets progressively better, but it never sounds like anything I've heard on the radio. Like he's never afraid to continue progressing in his own lane. You know what I mean? He doesn't conform. He doesn't just put an 808 on a track just because that's what's popular now. He's not trying to, do the whole like melodic rap or even fast this and that, even though he very much could. Vocals are great. And I think there's something to say about that. A lot of the artists that I listen to are quite like that. And I still listen to my mainstream artists too because can't escape it. But there's just more underground content for sure in my library. As
should be, because like you said, it's a lot less diluted.
That's such a good word. Yes. I don't know. I think it's a weird paradox we're in. You know what I mean? It's like you make stuff because you want to put it out there in the world and you want it to be seen and heard and liked and, well received, all the praise we want, right? But on the other side of that, it's also like, well, at least for me, I know that not all artists operate like this, but for me, I'm also like, ooh, I make some songs and I'm like, oh, that's real personal. I don't know if I can do that. Or maybe I shouldn't say that. I really have to think about the things that I say because this is my life. A lot of the things, even the past stuff that I would listen to or that I would write, like on my first album, I didn't get any bad reception in my personal life or anything like that. But I'm very aware of, and the people who those songs are about are very aware that they're about them and everything. And I did notice, I don't know, I just didn't like the way that felt. Like I'm not that person. I don't want to be that person. So very much so, like, it's very weird. I'm always battling that. I think that's what really drives how I handle my records and how I release them because I want to do the whole thing where I'm just in there. I'm like, yeah, this is how this happened. But if I tell you how that song happened, child, y'all would be like, ooh, and I might have to go to court, girl. I don't know.
We ain't talking about that today.
We can't. So it's best to just leave that song in the vault.
So something I want to know desperately is, releasing these 3 different versions of the album, that's 3 different kind of mixing styles, I would imagine, because, you had the studio music produced, you had your acapella, which is your raw vocals up front, and you had the instrumentals kind of thing. Did you use a lot of similar tools or did you use a variety of different kind of production tools? It actually was not that hard. Specifically with those 3 versions, all I had to do was make the original EP, which mixing that was hard. Specifically, Erased Me. Oh my God. Also, I didn't say that earlier. Shout out to Visionary and Renetta Spencer. I love them so much. They were so patient with me too, because Erase Me was another song that took 2.5 years for me to drop. Oh my goodness.
I'm horrible, but if anybody who works with me, just know it's gonna happen. I'm just, I gotta get my mind right, gotta get unscattered, and when it does happen, it will be worth it. I promise. But yeah, I basically just mixed that. It took us however many months to do that, and for the instrumentals and acapellas, I stem master my things. Like, I just find it's a better result, and I hear more of the sonics the way that I would like. So all I did was mute the instrumental and bounce the acapella, all effects there, and then mute the acapella, bounce the instrumental, all things there. That was pretty simple. That was probably the easiest part of them. The part that, and they aren't public, so nobody would know this, but the part that was a bit harder was the performance versions. I didn't like how when I took out my main vocals and I left whatever background stuff for the live shows, when I was recording, the levels of my audio and all that stuff would not be quite the same. So I did have to go and do a little more mixing of that on that end. But I have an amazing, I had, like, I don't work with him often now, but at the time, my good friend Harold was such a talented musician. He was very good about helping me kind of like do all that and get that situated. So that way when we're on stage and he's playing drums or whatever, it's not so unleveled, that kind of thing. Trial and error, But yeah, that was the easiest part, if I'm being honest.
Oh, bless your heart. Oh, that's good to hear. But then again, like you said, you stemmed it and template it correctly to save yourself having to do stuff twice.
Woo, if I could also put in there for my musicians and my artists, if you are your own engineer, no one told me this. It matters how you start your project. Oh my God. We had gotten so far into emotions. Like, well, I did each song individually. I didn't just like track vocals all in one day or make instrumentals all one day. I wrote them, and then I wrote them, recorded, made the beat, all that good stuff. Next one, make the beat, record it. Next one, make the beat, record it. That's how I do it. But if you can get your stuff, if I don't even know I don't know, because everybody's workflow is different. But if for example, me, I as a vocal person, I approach my things. I know I'm gonna have at least 3 or 4 background, maybe 5 harmony stacks of my chorus. I always do that. I always double and triple my chorus. I always have 2 verse harmony things and some ad libs. Like I make my little tracks and set up my little buses. I have my little template and everything. And whoa, does that save me time? I used to think that was cheating. No one told me. I don't know why I thought that either. Maybe because I think I just felt like it was inorganic. You know what I mean? To start off the way you started off the last song. But now I make songs like sandwiches. Like I just literally spread that mayo, girl, plop it on there, and we are good to go. So now it's just about fine tuning it and getting the visuals and the presentation of it correct. That's what takes me the most time now. What's funny too, if I'm being honest, I've even gotten to where like I'm almost a little bored of the engineering part of it. Like I'm gonna say it, whatever. I've been mixing 3 albums at once, all that are gonna be released over the course of the next 2 or 3 years or so. But doing that much mixing and not stepping away from the laptop, oh my God, I also recommend that if you're an artist. Like, please do take your breaks and go out and live, because I would often feel very stumped, like I just can't get anywhere, until I would go out and have a drink with my friends, or even go to work and something funny would happen, or a bad day would happen. Really anything. Like, you have to experience life in the midst of all that. Otherwise, it won't feel like you're getting anywhere. At least for me, I say all these things and it's all subjective, so I don't really even know.
Well, I'm gonna lay a little truth on y'all. Okay, we're gonna share a secret. Talent is not a partner. They can't run away from you.
Oop. Say that.
Okay.
Oop.
All right. It's like your spirit. Okay. It's not done until this journey's over.
What?
So just know, if you are an artist of whatever variation and you're like, I can't take a break. Yes, you can, and you must. You need to recharge that battery, honey.
I encourage it. If you keep up with me, and I think it's one of probably the larger critiques that I get, and I'm very aware of it. I'm working on it, guys. Don't worry. I take social media breaks for months at a time, and I think I even do it once a year. It's gotten that often. Now, obviously, of course, not obviously, but of course, these last few years, there actually was things that were going on that needed my immediate attention. I couldn't really just post a picture and I've got this falling behind me. You know what I mean? Like, oh my gosh, all this stuff going on in my personal life. But I recommend that it's easy for this to feel like a job. And then it's easy for it also to feel like your only sense of connection to your audience and your people and your fans and all that good stuff. But if you let that drive you, like, it can definitely, it takes the fun out of it. You don't want to do that. So yeah, like I said, I'm very protective about that. Even my timelines are very, 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 very specifically curated, because the last thing I want to see is anything that doesn't align with what I need. For a minute there was a lot of, I would see a lot of the astrology stuff in my timeline, and I don't mind that actually. I welcome that. Excuse me. But it was getting to the point where I was seeing it so much because I was interacting with it, like on my Twitter. It was giving me all these negative things, like, okay, this moon's coming, so you're about to, you're going to be in the wildest depression of your life. Someone's going to come out and tell you that they've been cheating and all this good stuff. I'm not even in a relationship, and I'm just panicked. I'm panicked for what? These things, they can easily affect your mental if you don't even think about it. So I definitely recommend taking your break, recharge, refresh, make authentic art from you. Do not look anywhere else for inspiration. Let the inspiration find you, because oh my gosh, it's so easy to sound like the next person, to fall into the next person's trap, all that good stuff.
Honey, I know we're a slave to our electricity, you know what I'm saying? But forget that light bill. You are the light. Okay?
Ooh.
All right?
Ooh.
Okay?
I have to put that on a t-shirt.
Get a candle.
I have to.
All right?
Hey, that's actually a great idea. I have 2 or 3 candles in my room.
Yes, okay. It's not just for Valentine's night or your honeymoon, okay?
Or for that late night bath, when your nerves are at your wits' end. No, baby. Don't let your nerves get bad before you light the candle.
Okay.
Light the candle.
Yeah, light that candle. Light the candle, baby.
Bring that bill down. Mm-hmm. You want that money saved, girl. You don't want that bill high. You don't want that. But yes, yeah, sorry. On to what you were saying.
No. You're totally good. You're totally good. But yeah, that was it. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, don't think that you gotta pay your light bill, so you gotta come out with something.
Mm-hmm.
Do something for you.
Mm-hmm. Just if you don't mind me asking you a question, I'm curious. What would you say to the artist that doesn't necessarily have the ability to do that, to choose when and how often they do it? They are like. I have a lot of friends who express, actually both sides of the spectrum. There's my friends who express that they don't do it enough because they have to work. They've got, families and all these other stuff. So when they do get to it, it's only so much time they can devote, and it feels like forever before they can get back to it again. Which in those cases, I'm always like, just stick it out. But I mean, I know that's easier said than done. Then I have the other side of my friends where they feel like they do it too much. Kind of like how I was saying, where I was sitting at that computer so much trying to get this album mixed and all that. It was starting to not even sound good. You know what I mean? Essentially, I'm overdoing things. I'm dialing this back. I'm like, I feel like that's too loud now. And it was fine literally 2 mixes ago, right? So things like that. They'll say that and they're like, well, I don't know. Like, I feel like I'm losing inspiration. I'm doing too much. Da, 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 da. For that, we just said, take your breaks and everything. But what if you take too many breaks? What if you feel like you don't have enough time to devote to your craft? What would you usually say to somebody who feels that way?
Based on what I know now in this particular minute,
yeah,
I would tell them the most important relationship you need to nourish is with yourself.
Ooh.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Think about it. You hear about all the time people breaking up with their partner because they're working too often. They're never at home. They're not helping with the kids. They're not helping with this or that. Their intimacy is gone because they're not present anymore.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So you nourish a relationship with yourself. Okay.
For sure. Ooh.
Again, the talent ain't going nowhere. Okay. It is your spirit. That is your journey. It's not going anywhere till you are done. Whether it takes 5 years or 5 seconds or 5 minutes, it ain't going nowhere, okay? You know what I'm saying? We forget where we put our keys, but we eventually find it.
And you got to keep looking. I mean, you know what I mean? Ooh,
so,
wow.
My advice to them is don't set a time. Don't live by the clock. I'm being hypocritical because I live by the clock because I'm a slave to that thing.
Well, don't we all?
But but remember, don't live by the clock. Okay, the clock is not you. You are the clock. Okay, you are the one that decides what is going to happen.
Ooh, I love that. And if I could add, more importantly, maybe not more importantly, just as importantly, you are your own clock. So if you see somebody else, doing theirs quicker. There was a time, specifically right when I was about to release iMotions. I don't think it came out just yet. I think I just had Feel a Wave, and I'm at Scout Bar and all these places performing. Excuse me. But somebody had told me, they were like, man, I wish that I could just do what you do. I'm like, you're in it. Like, you're always in that lot. So you work. And while that is very much true, it was not fun. Not doing it at the capacity that I was doing it, but also you never know what it took somebody to get to where you're seeing them at now. So what may look like their first step to you could have been their 444th step. You know what I mean? You are your own clock, baby. If you want to take your time to get to the next step, or if you want to be 10 steps ahead in a year, do that. Make your moves. Do what you got to do. Whatever. I'm such a firm believer that whatever is supposed to align with you and fall into place with you will literally do that. I've been blessed, so fortunate to meet a lot of people and be in a lot of situations where if I was just 5 minutes too late, I would have never had that same experience. I would never had that same growth, that same learning experience. And that's the parts of it for me that I hold in. I try to put that in the music too. Like, I hope anybody can hear that. If you don't hear nothing else, I hope that you hear my lessons. I'm always continuously learning. I'm always trying to grow. I don't believe in being the same. Despite what it may look like or made it seem like, if I had the choice, every time y'all saw me, I would be in you ever see that meme? And it's like this woman, she's like switching her wig every scene. Oh, it's not a meme, excuse me. It's a TV show. It's on HBO. It's like this office, it's like The Office, but I think they're lawyers or they're cops or something. But whatever it is, one of the characters, one of the cops, she's so funny. It's a comedy show. She has a new wig, a new hairstyle every time you see her. So we'll go one episode, she's got these braids in. Next episode, it's like a blonde, like bob, and she's like, that's my real hair. Yeah. I totally would do that. I would love to do that. If I had the choice, if I could do things the way that I want to, every time y'all saw me, I would be, it was like, is that Robin? Yeah. Huh? I'm talking to you guys from behind a mask. It's like, yeah, what's up? Yeah.
Yeah.
So, just take your time, do what you do. I feel like, and in that same regard too, you never know who's watching. Some of the things that I thought I was like so stagnant, I'm not doing anything, I'm not getting any better. There were a few people at least that were just like, oh my God, that new video, that new song, what you're doing now is so good. Thank you. That's all that matters, child. What looks like, what may not look like growth to you is tremendous growth to others. So you never know. Just follow your heart, love yourself, do what you do, nurture yourself. Oof, it's a never-ending job, for sure.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today.
Of course. Thank you for having me. Oh my gosh, this was so fun.
No, it was a great pleasure, man. It was a great pleasure to meet you.
You as well. You are a light. Oh my gosh. If you see me take some of your sayings and quote them and things like that, don't worry, girl. I'll make sure I send your check right here, okay? I got you.
If it's positivity you sharing, honey, it's free. It's gratis, okay? Pro bono.
Love it. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you, man. Do you have any last bit of advice for the listeners?
Nothing I haven't already said. I would just say, keep going. Like I said, I guess to really harp on that last point, wherever somebody else is at, that could be their 444th step as opposed to your first. So do not get discouraged. Just keep going. What's for you is for you. And yeah, do not be afraid to try new things and seek out originality in your music. You don't have to do anything specific. Just be you. Let inspiration find you. Yeah.
Well, y'all heard it from the man yourself, okay? Nourish the relationship with yourself. You are the light, and you're an artist. You're not just a musician, not just a teacher, not just a parent. You're an artist. Well, thank you all so much for joining us this week, and we'll talk to you guys next week. Peace.